Usamota Hekamota Setipenemin Ramesses IV, also written Ramses or Rameses, was the third pharaoh of the 20th dynasty of the New Kingdom of ancient Egypt. He was the second son of Ramesses III and became crown prince when his elder brother Amenhotep died aged 15 in 1164 BC. When Ramesses was only 12 years old, his promotion to crown prince. Pharaoh, reign 1155 to 1149 BC. Predecessor, Ramesses III. Successor, Ramesses V. Consort, Duatentipet half-sister. Children, Ramesses V. Father, Ramesses III. Mother, Titi, born 1176 BC, died 1149 BC, aged 27. Burial, KV2. Mummy found in the KV35 Royal Cache Thebe necropolis. Monuments, Temple of Honsu at Karnak, Dynasty. 20th Dynasty of Egypt is suggested by his appearance suitably entitled in a scene of the Festival of Min at the Ramesses III Temple at Karnak, which may have been completed by year 22 of his father's reign. The date is mentioned in the poem inscribed there. As his father's chosen successor, the prince employed three distinctive titles: hereditary prince, royal scribe, and generalissimo. The latter two titles are mentioned in a text at the Temple of Amenhotep III at Soleb, and all three titles appear on a lintel now in Florence, Italy. As heir apparent, he took on increasing responsibilities. For instance, in year 27 of his father's reign, he is depicted appointing a certain Amenemop to the important position of third prophet of Amun in the latter's T148 tomb. Amenemop's Theban tomb also accords Prince Ramesses all three of his aforementioned sets of royal titles. Despite the 31-year reign of his father Ramesses III, Ramesses IV was only 21 when he became pharaoh. His rule has been dated to 1155 to 1149 BC. It is now believed that Ramesses IV's mother was most likely Queen Titi, from recently discovered notes published in the 2010 issue of the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology. They reveal that Titi, who was a king's daughter, a king's wife, and the king's mother in her own right, was identified in Papyrus BMAR 10052, i.e. the tomb robbery papyri, to be a queen of Ramesses III, Ramesses IV's father. The 2010 JEA article authors, including Adon Dodson, write that since Ramesses VI's mother is known to be a certain lady, is it Tahemjert or Isis, only Ramesses IV and Ramesses VIII remain as candidates for the son of Titi. Given that Ramesses VIII only reigned briefly some 25 years after his father's death, it is hardly likely that the decoration of KV52 with the MWT and SWAE, King's Mother title intimately mixed with Titi's other titles, could have been delayed this late to refer to him. This leaves Ramesses IV as the only credible primary subject of the MWT and SW title in the tomb, as for which, if any, of the other sons of Ramesses III were born to Titi, no unequivocal data is available other than the fact that Amenhotep B, buried in KV55, was Mizen HMTNT RMWTNT RHMTNS WWRT, paralleling Titi's titles so closely that he may with some confidence be proposed as her son. Thus, the identity of Ramesses IV's mother has been resolved in favor of Queen Titi, who was once erroneously thought to be the mother of another king in the mid-1980s. Ramesses XI. Ramesses IV was succeeded to the throne by his 13-year-old son Ramesses V. Ramesses IV came to the throne in difficult circumstances. Ramesses III, his father, was assassinated by conspirators led by Tai, one of his secondary wives, to establish Pentuer, her own son and Ramesses IV's half-brother, on the throne. Ramesses IV, however, was able to secure himself on the throne and had the conspirators arrested and executed. At the start of his reign, the pharaoh initiated a substantial building program on the scale of Ramesses II by doubling the size of the work gangs at Deir el-Medina to a total of 120 men and dispatching numerous expeditions to the stone quarries of Wadi Hammamat and the turquoise mines of the Sinai. The great rock stealer of Ramesses IV at Wadi Hammamat records that the largest expedition dated to his year 3, third month of Shemu Day, 27 consisted of 8,368 men, alone including 5,000 soldiers, 2,000 personnel of the Amun temples, 800 operu, and 130 stonemasons and quarrymen under the personal command of the high priest of Amun. Ramesses note: the scribes who composed the text also noted that this figure included 900 men who are dead and omitted from this list. Consequently, once this omitted figure is included to the tally of 8,368 men who served in the year 3 quarry expedition, a total of 900 men out of an original expedition of 8,368 men perished during this endeavor for a mortality rate of 10.7%. Some of the stones, which were dragged 60 miles to the Nile from Wadi Hammamat, weighed 40 tons or more. Other Egyptian quarries including Aswan were located much closer to the Nile, which enabled them to use barges to transport stones long distances. Part of the king's program included the extensive enlargement of his father's temple of Hunsu at Karnak and the construction of a large mortuary temple near the temple of Hatshepsut. Ramesses IV also sent several expeditions to the turquoise mines in the Sinai. A total of 4 expeditions are known prior to his 4th year. The Sarobit el-Qadim stealer of the royal butler, Sobkhotep, states, Year 3, third month of Shemu, His Majesty sent his favored and beloved one, the confidant of his lord, the overseer of the treasury of silver and gold, chief of the secrets of the august palace, Sobkhotep, justified, to bring for him all that his heart desired of turquoise on his 4th expedition. This expedition dates to either Ramesses III or the 4th's reign, since Sobkhotep is attested in office until at least the reign of Ramesses V. Ramesses IV's final venture to the turquoise mines of the Sinai, documented by the stealer of a senior army scribe named Panifer. Panifer states that this expedition's mission was both to procure turquoise and to establish a cult chapel of King Ramesses IV at the Hathor temple of Sarobit el-Qadim. The stealer reads, Year 5, second month of Shemu, summer. Descending by His Majesty to build the mansion of millions of years of Ramesses IV in the temple of Hathor, Lady of Turquoise, by Panifer, the scribe of the commands of the army, son of Peri, justified, while little is known regarding the route that the mining missions took from Egypt to Sarobit el-Qadim. A.J. Peden, who wrote a biography of Ramesses IV in 1994, states that there were 2 obvious routes to reach this site. The first was a straightforward march from a delta base, such as Memphis, east-southeast and then south into Sinai. Surviving a march in this inhospitable land would have presented formidable logistical obstacles, perhaps forcing an alternative route to be adopted. This would involve a departure from the delta to a site near the modern port of Suez. From here they could have proceeded by boat to the ports of Abu Zanima or Olmarka on the west coast of the Sinai Peninsula, and from there, it is a short journey inland of only a day or 2 to the actual site of Sarobit el-Qadim. Ramesses IV is attested by his aforementioned building activity at Wadi Hammamat and Sarobit el-Qadim, the Sinai, as well as several papyri, and even 1 obelisk. The creation of a royal cult in the temple of Hathor is known under his reign at Sarobit el-Qadim, while Papyrus Mallet or P. Louvre 1050 dates to years 3 and 4 of his reign. Papyrus Mallet is a 6-column text dealing partly with agricultural affairs. Its first column lists the prices for various commodities between year 31 of Ramesses III until year 3 of Ramesses IV. The final 4 columns contain a memorandum of 2 letters composed by the superintendent of cattle of the estate of Amun-Re, Bacon Coms, to several mid-level administrators and their subordinates. Meanwhile, surviving monuments of Ramesses IV in the Delta consists of an obelisk recovered in Cairo and a pair of his cartouches found on a pylon gateway, both originally from Heliopolis. The most important document to survive from this pharaoh's rule is Papyrus Harris I, which honors the life of his father, Ramses III, by listing the latter's many accomplishments and gifts to the temples of Egypt, and the Turin Papyrus, the earliest known geologic map. Ramses IV was perhaps the last New Kingdom king to engage in large-scale monumental building over his father. There was a marked decline in temple building even during the longer reigns of Ramses IX and VI. The only apparent exception was the attempt of Ramses V and VI to continue the vast and uncompleted mortuary temple of Ramses IV at the Asasif, at Beirut. A 12th century burial shaft included a bone amulet with the cartouche of Ramses IV. Despite Ramses IV's many endeavors for the gods, and his prayer to Osiris preserved on a year for Stela at Abydos that thou shalt give me the great age with a long reign as my predecessor, the king did not live long enough to accomplish his ambitious goals. Ramses IV's highest known date in the archaeological records is a year 7, 3-Akit Day 23 Ostracon, which, under the Egyptian dating system, meant that this ruler had a reign of just more than 6 full years. After a short reign of about 6.5 years, Ramses IV died and was buried in tomb KV2 in the Valley of the Kings. His mummy was found in the royal cache of Amenhotep II's tomb KV35 in 1898. His chief wife is Queen Duatentipet or Tentipet, or who was buried in QV74. His son, Ramses V, would succeed him to the throne. Originally, Ramses IV had a tomb built for him, a Valley of the Queens, KV53. In April 2021, his mummy was moved from the Museum of Egyptian Antiquities to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, along with those of 17 other kings and 4 queens in an event termed the Pharaoh's Golden Parade.